I believe we have found the great equalizer and the exact person who can bring the Candace Owens and TPUSA feud to an end, and her name is Erika Kirk. Let's get into it.
Erica from this. And because I love Charlie and I want to protect his wife. Leave her out of this. She don't need to be talking to nobody. She don't need to be trying to explain herself to nobody. Y'all can go to you know where.
My name is Casey and I have been a psychologist, a therapist, a husband and a father for more than a decade. And I am extremely concerned with where TPUSA goes from here as I'm a donor, but I calmed down after yesterday's little brief stint into criticism of Candace Owens, and I believe there is a pathway forward where everyone gets the truth. And before you get my version of the truth, please like, share, and subscribe so we can do this together.
I will fight to no end to have Charlie's legacy continue because I think he was a good man. Charlie was my family member. Charlie was my brother in the flesh, my brother in Christ. But my goodness, man, I used to talk to Charlie face to face. And I said, whatever you need, I got your back.
I believe Brandon Tatum is a great intermediary in this debate between Candace Owens and TPUSA. For a little background, Candace Owens has been claiming that TPUSA may be indicated in Charlie Kirk's assassination. And for some reason, the people who Charlie Kirk brought up and into relative wealth, prosperity, and influence, they wanted him to be taken out. And she's indicated Frank Turek, his pastor mentor guy, along with many others in TPUSA. And so in order to try to bring that conversation to a head, TPUSA reached out to Candace Owens yesterday and said, come on, in about 11 days, let's talk about it in person in the Phoenix studio where Charlie Kirk did his podcast.
Hopefully help Candace simmer down. The only person that she said she would listen to besides her husband is Erica Kirk. Will she be there? This was Candace's initial response to the video of all of this.
All right, you guys, it's happening. It's happening. Everybody stay calm. After yesterday's episode where we went kind of for the jugular with Turning Point USA, because really I think everybody in the entire world has had enough with the non-response, trying to move on, trying to gaslight us.
Where I disagree with Brandon Tatum is in that he wanted to protect Erika Kirk from any influence into the conversation with Candace Owens. But I believe, as Gunberg85 pointed out in my comments yesterday, that potentially Candace Owens could even see her loyalties to Erika more so than the rest of TPUSA. And so if you bring Erika into the fold, perhaps Candace would be compelled to begin to defend her in person, and let's see truthfully where her loyalties are. I believe Candace is interestingly making cases that are just asking questions as to what happened to Charlie in a way that's compelling for her audience, and that she has a lot of new subscribers because of that, along with a lot of new influence because of that, maybe even being one of the biggest podcasts political in the space. So in that way, my presumption is that her motives are to gain more influence. However, if she is really playing a loyalty game, let's bring Erika out and see, is Candace's loyalty to Erika or is it to herself? Because when you are forming a tribe, when psychologically people have a group of peers that they come from, whether it's their church, their family, or even their country, it is necessary that people within that tribe have a certain amount of loyalty. And that's why people who are traitors or people who are seditious have such a historical scarlet letter that they wear, is because loyalty is mandatory in order to build a good system, in order to build a good group of cohort or a group of peers that you can use to fight against the true forces of evil, which are trying to dissolve the right-wing movement, which are, of course, the left. So if Candace has loyalty to the right wing, which I might remind everyone, as much as she has fought for the right wing, she was relatively on the left, as when Blexit came about, may have been 6 to 8 years ago. So her loyalty to the right wing is even shorter than mine, and mine is about 10 to 14 years long, depending on how you do the math. So it is up to us to maintain some amount of rigorous, necessary loyalty in order for our movement to go forward. And so I believe Candace may demonstrate her loyalties if she shows up. And by the way, the newest update to this coming
You
right
pick the
up.
time. I say we do it tomorrow. Okay?
The place, you can pick a time.
Now there's an issue with the time because it's her show. Now there's an issue she can't be there in person, even though she's in Nashville. They're in Phoenix. It's plenty of direct flights. It's like a 2.5-hour flight.
I say we do it tomorrow. We don't need to plan for this. We don't need lawyers in between us. Lawyers.
We don't need to plan. We don't need to plan anything. I don't need notice. I'll pull up tomorrow.
So after TPUSA dropped the bomb that they wanted to see Candace in studio in Phoenix, Candace accepted the invitation. She said she could finally get some of the answers she was looking for and what her audience is looking for. However, from that point, she has begun criticizing the fact that it was during the time where she would ordinarily be recording her show. There's nothing bigger than this conversation that Candace could participate in. And by the way, you could just simulcast it on her channel as well. And that she didn't get the invitation in person or through email, but on X. And there is no way on God's green earth that Candace Owens can back out of this. This is what the world wanted to see. And oh, by the way, even Nick Fuentes agrees that Candace needs to either put up or shut up.
You know, it's really bad when Nick Fuentes is clapping back at Candace. Okay, this is his perspective. He did like when this kid is like, yo, you're on a sick one. You were invited to Turning Point headquarters to press their leadership live and in person about their role in Kirk's murder, but you can't go because of a scheduling conflict. LOL. Isn't this what you've been pushing for since December? Time to put up or shut up. Rare.
As a TPUSA donor, I have to just state that I hate this. I hate that this is even a conversation that's coming up. And I like to take Occam's razor in this instance. And I know that there has been a lot of conspiracies that have come about because of the institutional rot in our country over the last decade or 2 decades. However, Occam's razor says whatever the simplest solution, the simplest answer to a question like who killed Charlie Kirk and why is typically the right answer. And that's a heuristic, meaning it helps us siphon out side information so that we can make judgments quickly, including like when you go into an alley in the dead of night. If there's 7 people in that alley and one of them looks like they could take advantage of you or they could steal from you, they could rob from you, you eliminate the other 6 that don't appear to be a threat so that you can move forward with the best possible judgment. That's what a heuristic is. That's what Occam's razor would tell us to do. And so in this case, while Candace has made some compelling points and there are some questions, and I do think she's tried to indicate people which otherwise should not necessarily be brought into this. And I don't know about the Egyptian, Israeli, France connection or any of those things, but she did imply that there's been an airline that's been following around Erika Kirk. And so I just think if anyone can answer these questions and help us to demonstrate whether Occam's razor is in fact true, and someone that Candace would respect, because she obviously does not respect the other members of TPUSA, bring out Candace Owens and Erika Kirk together. And by the way, TPUSA is the best, absolute best advocacy and activist group for the right wing that has ever existed in my lifetime. So I don't want to tear them asunder and wreck their reputation unnecessarily. So let's have this conversation, Erika Kirk and Candace Owens, and let's just get it done. That's what the people want to see so that we can put Charlie to rest in a way that would be honoring to his memory, honoring to God, and help us move forward as a movement so that we don't just argue our way into losses in 2026, 2028, and in fact, a country where my children would no longer be a thriving part of the polity. If you can get behind any of that, or if any of this makes sense to you, please comment in the comments. Do you want to see Erika Kirk in this conversation, or does it need to be the TPUSA people that Candace has been more aggressive against? Or should this even happen? Is this destructive? Is this just entertainment? And are we just doing a true crime podcast at this point? Let me know in the comments. I really appreciate your support. 2,500 subscribers and beyond for this Midwestern Midwit. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.